Hi everyone, it's Paul Miller of the Free Time Free Spill podcast, and today is going to be a great show. I have an author with me. He's the owner of New Life Publications. And how you doing, Mr. Derrick?
I'm doing good. How you doing, bro?
Doing fine, doing fine. So I'd love to talk to you about your book, about because you have like a lot of books and New Life Publication. I love to talk to you about that and the prison system and self education.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's talk about the book, The Little Homie.
Yeah, message to the little homies. That was actually my first title. I wrote that book in prison. I
Yes,
wrote it in 2012. I got incarcerated in 2004, early 2004. I got out 2019. I wrote the book Message to the Little Homies in 2012. After a phone conversation with my son, who was then maybe like around 14, 15, something to that effect right there. And he was telling me that at that time he had started smoking weed, he was having sex. So I really just sit down and wrote the book as if I was having a conversation with a little homie.
yeah,
Like just giving a little homie like some jewels that I felt like would be beneficial for him. So it's written like just like a one-on-one conversation.
yeah, dropping some knowledge.
Yeah. But like
So
some of the content, I start off that book right there by my whole thing is that I believe a lot of what we do it has to do with how we view ourselves. I feel that a lot of our boys have poor self images. The way that we see ourselves is not necessarily healthy, and a lot of that has to do with the things that we were taught when we were children. The things that we came to believe on our own. And it causes us to have a poor self image, which leads to like unhealthy self esteem, which also causes us to act out in unhealthy ways, engage in sexual activity, drugs, you know what I'm saying, gangs, you know what I'm saying, just the whole street culture itself. So I start the book off talking about, you know what I'm saying, the need to go back and reconnect with history. Because I feel like history is one of those things that can help a person develop a healthy self image because history is one of the things that like many young people they shy away from. And it's because they don't see that the history is relevant. That there's nothing proud in the history they've been taught in schools. So I start the book off with a brief intro into African history. You know, talking about how the transatlantic slave trade occurred, who were enslaved, how did it happen, and how is that even relevant to the little homies on the corner?
wow, that's amazing. And you made a whole U-turn. Like it's good with influences, like because our environment tells us a lot, and the thoughts that we're fed. So like,
Yeah.
how did you make a whole U-turn into the right direction and like throw that old self away, that old life away, and turn into what's right?
I mean, honestly, I had a good upbringing. You know, the me being out there in the streets at an early age, that was just me really um, trying to follow in the footsteps of my father and my older brothers. But you know, so like I had a mother who, so like would buy me encyclopedias, dictionaries. And so you know, as a young boy, I'm writing short stories. You know, typing about them on word processor, poetry, all that type of stuff right there. I loved history, but I hated school because I hated, you know, like the stuff that we were being taught.
Yeah,
So like when I did get locked up, I pretty much like just went back to like some of the things that made me feel good, and that was writing. So I read a lot, I wrote a lot, and I just had an interest in history and comparative religious studies. And it was really, you know, so like my desire to learn more about my place in history. You know what I'm saying? Learning more about history that goes back further than just the civil rights struggle, that goes back further than the chattel slavery here in the United States. It was that right there that instilled in me a sense of self-respect, a sense of pride, because I realized that, you know what, I am not what I had come to believe. I am not what some others have made me out to be. Because I've had some experiences as a young person, you know, so like walking down the streets with my cousin, you know, since some white boys rode down the street in the truck, niggers, niggers, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those types of experiences, you know what I'm saying? Like Halloween, I'm with my cousin and my auntie, and there's some men in white robes, chasing or running towards us screaming niggas. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so like me seeing those things, then and then you know what I'm saying, like learning something about you know, racism and all that type of stuff right there, it made me feel inferior. And I wanted to understand like why do they see us the way that they see us? Why do they hate us so much? You know, so
Yeah.
I went back and just reevaluated everything for myself. And I had a lot of help and support along the way too. I mean, there's some brothers that I met in prison who are remarkable, who are, you know what I'm saying, who are on the levels of scholars and experts. Um, then I was also fortunate too towards the end of my prison sentence to be introduced to Professor James Small, and he gave me like further insight into how to develop myself spiritually, how to stay focused, how to, you know what I'm saying, remain determined, and how to put myself first because I have a habit of like wanting to help others,
Yeah.
and in the process of wanting to help others, that I forget about myself. So he would you know what I'm saying, like let me know that at the same time, like self-care is very important because you can't care for anyone else unless you first make sure that you're taken care of. So I had a lot of support, you know what I'm saying, and plus I just had the time on my hands. And that's something that a lot of people out, you know what I'm saying, like in the free world that they didn't have. It's time. You know, I had plenty of time. So I read, cross-reference stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like most of I got money. I was fortunate. I had like homies who would send me $200-300 a month. And I would spend most of that money on books.
Wow, that's
You
good.
know, I spend most of my money on books. So you know what I'm saying, I've read countless books. So I was just exposed and introduced to a lot of ideas, you know, that helped me, you know what I'm saying, come to see myself, the world, other people in a different light. You know what I'm saying? That pretty much like inspired me to want to do something.
Can you tell us about the book about message Jews took for my little sister?
Our Jewels for My Little Sister, that's the follow-up to Message to the Lahomies. Those are two of the three books of the Being Real series. Jewels for My Little Sister, just like Message to the Lahomies, is for like teenage black girls. And with that book, I'm focusing on self-esteem. So in the same vein that I start out with talking about the need to know who you are so that you can respect and love yourself. I do that with Jules for My Little Sister. But you know what I'm saying? We talk about sex, you know what I'm saying, drugs, relationships, weave, you know what I'm saying? A lot of issues that are controversial, uh, you know, they're discussed in that book right there. Both books are short because they're designed for teenage audiences, for teenage readers.
Yeah.
So they're short books, but the books are like very informative, very insightful, and designed to make the reader think. You know, so both of the books are powerful. Like I said, they're books 1 and 2 of the Being Real series. Being real, I define real by way of an acronym. It means to restore, evolve, achieve, and love. And that's what I'm hoping that these books do for the people who are coming into contact with them, is that they restore what was lost, which is our sanity. We evolve into healthier versions of ourselves. We achieve our goals, and then we love ourselves and others. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And that's what those two books, you know what I'm saying, are set out to do.
Yeah, love is a big one. Love is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So with the prison system, like the culture, like what's it like on the inside? Because nobody they see on the outside, but they see the media and on TV,
Mm-hmm.
like the description of that and the stereotypes. So like what happens? Like how do y'all learn? Like what goes in a day life with the struggle and all that?
Well, I mean, it depends. I did federal time. It depends on like the custody. So like in the federal system, you start off at like the higher custody prisons are called USPs, right? United States Penitentiaries. These are for people who got like high custody points. Normally, you got longer sentences. You're young. You're more likely to engage in some sort of activity that the prison system doesn't want you involved in. So those prisons are, that's where like the gangs, you know what I'm saying, like it's those prisons are like where it goes down. It's rough, it's tough, and like, but the prison system itself is like it's segregated. You might not be able to see me right now. I have my son in my arms. He's just now waking up.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, my girl, she's at the shop right now. She does hair. She's at the shop, so I'm home with the kids right now. So
Yes, sir.
I apologize for you know what I'm saying, if this is an inconvenience. But the prison culture is, for one thing, one of the things that stood out to me from the jump was that it's segregated and it's self-segregated. Um, like you have guys who, like a white guy and a black guy, who would be cool, but for whatever reason, when it comes time to go to the cafeteria to eat, they would not sit at the same table because the prison culture pretty much demands that, like, blacks sit in one section, Hispanics in another section, whites in another section, and then even within them sections, it's broken down even more. So you will have like Kentucky guys are set in a certain section, Tennessee guys are set in a certain section, the Muslims are set in a certain section. Then if guys are affiliated with Bloods, Crips, or GDs or whatever, then so there's all of these little groups where everything is like just segregated. Um, but I mean, like, honestly, like, it's a lot of respect because of the violence. Like, the violence can get intense.
Yeah.
So people try not to disrespect you unless they feel like you're just an easy mark and you don't have anyone that's gonna ride with you. But so the respect is a huge thing. But staff, like I said, a lot of it depends on like the actual prison that you're at. Also, staff at times can be very disrespectful. Um, talk to you like you trash. Um, go out of their way not to assist you. I done seen guys need medical care. They don't receive the medical care. Um, I've seen guys who try to check in because, for whatever reason they owe a debt, or somebody's, about to put in some work on them. The prison would not allow this person to check into the hole. They like, you just got to deal with it. You shouldn't have ran up a debt. So guy end up, something happened to the guy. So what? It just happens to him. But then, like, when you go down to like the lower custody prisons, like you go down to a medium or a low, the violence and the tension, it gets like less intense.
Yeah.
Um, Normally, like, I finished off at a camp. Now camps are like super laid back. Camps are super laid back. You can walk around in your tennis shoes, in your shower shoes.
Yeah.
At a USP, you do not walk around in your shower shoes. You don't even walk to the shower in your shower shoes. You walk to the shower in boots, and you take your shower shoes with you. And a lot of times, guys that have like one of their partners, walk with them to the shower. So it just depends on, like, each prison is going to be different than the next, but a lot of it has to do with like the custody level of the prison.
Yeah.
You know,
They got their own culture and language, like, and how they operate. Like, they might be playing dominoes. Do they do that? Like dominoes, like how,
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like board games, dominoes, spades, poker, all of that's big. Sports are huge in prison. Uh, I really didn't play a lot of sports. I played handball just about every day.
yeah.
I didn't play a lot of basketball because, like, some of the old heads, they schooled me from the jump. If you want to avoid a lot of trouble, stay away from the TV and stay away from the basketball court. Um, because that's where a lot of the problems start.
Yeah.
Unless you just like one of them dudes who just gotta play basketball. I could really care less about playing basketball. I didn't play basketball before I went to prison, so it wasn't an issue with me. I played handball, but I mean, there's a lot of sports and games in prison. I mean, they give you a lot of things that occupy your mind and
Yeah.
time, hoping that you don't, get involved in some frivolous activities as a result of, like these distractions or whatever. But when it comes to like education, the education, like libraries, oftentimes don't have the material that guys need. Because like what you will find is like pretty much like the five prisons that I went to, there were like regulars who would attend like the law library and like just a regular library, who would be in there studying law or whatever they're studying, but the resources are so minimal, and the books are like, old, outdated, and it's a hassle getting new stuff in. But the prisons, they make sure they get new nets, new basketballs, new bats, new gloves
Yeah.
on a regular. Like all the sport and stuff is going to stay like fresh. They gonna keep those things. So like the rec department, it's as if the rec department's budget is triple the budget for education. That's just from what I've seen from my experiences. Some other guys may tell you something different from the prisons that they were at, but the prisons that I were at, that's one of the main things that I noticed. I spent a lot of my time in the library. I was actually a library clerk for a lot of my prison sentences also. But that's I don't know. I mean, like, like I said, I mean, it's segregation, but it's still like big on respect. And it's pretty much like just depends on like where you at, like what your custody is. That's going to like determine like the level of violence that you may see. But now here's another thing that I found interesting too. Like anything that you can get on the streets, you can get in prison.
That's crazy.
So you know what I'm saying? Like I remember, you know what I'm saying, like getting up, walking down the tier and say like there's 20 rooms that I'm walking past. I can honestly say that like in like 11 or 12 of those rooms, I'm seeing guys on cell phones. Super Bowl comes, Super Bowl, Super Bowl weekend comes. You got Henny, you know what I'm saying? You got Amsterdam, you know what I'm saying? Jokers blowing good, they snorting good, they having a ball. You know what I'm saying? Coolers full of beer, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
parlaying. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like there was a guy when I first went in when I was in Macquarie, guy overdosed on heroin. Young guy, he was like 20 something years old. He was about to get out in like 2 weeks. Overdosed on heroin. I went to his wake. Um, but I've just seen a lot of guys, you know what I'm saying? Like I've just seen drugs in every prison I was at. Lots of drugs.
Yes,
Because I
sir.
mean it's a lot of money to be made with drugs in prison. I've seen, you know what I'm saying? I know guys who've taken care of their families from prison. Like pay rent, pay utilities, you know what I'm saying, buy school clothes for their kids, all that type of stuff from prison. You know, so it's a lot of money to be made in there off of drugs. So that's, you know what I'm saying, like part of the culture as well as well.
So how can you help? How can we help the black community like steer people in the right direction, like even the youth? Like,
Um, I mean, like my thing is that we have to like come from various angles. I mean, like me, I prefer to work with like young boys who's like headed down the wrong path because like the lessons that I've learned, my approach, my delivery may not come across well to the boy who's doing good in school, who's never thought about using or dealing drugs, who's not out here trying to womanize and be part of the in crowd. You know, my experiences and my message doesn't resonate. It doesn't sit well with him because that's not like what he's into. So basically, what I feel like what we need is pretty much like a coalition. We need recognition that there's a lot of our youth who are doing good. So we want to keep them on a good track. So we want to make sure that they have mentors that's going to help them prepare business plans and, you know, things of that nature right there. We have other boys who are broken, mentally broken. They're dealing with childhood trauma. They're dealing with poor self esteem from unhealthy self image. These boys right here, they need a entirely different curriculum. They need they need a message that's like rooted in history, that's rooted in culture. Um, they need they need like activities that's going to help boost their self image. They need to learn how to, for instance, how to perform a gratitude list. Why is a gratitude list important? You know, so and how do you even write out a gratitude list? You know, so like small things like that. It's just really like just sitting down, identifying problems, coming up with workable solutions to those problems right there, and knowing that not everybody is going to be on board with your agenda. You
yeah,
know, but but it's knowing that you don't have to have like everybody like champion you on, you say patting you on the back because like a lot of people are not going to do that. Me, I speak a lot about white supremacy because my thing is the third book to the Being Real series is called Opposing Sides. We talked about a message to the little homies and Jewel's smaller sister. The third book is called Opposing Sides: The Fight for Black Excellence. Now, in Opposing Sides, this book is written for adults, but for adults who work with young people, right? And I'm arguing that like one of the greatest obstacles that we must overcome is white supremacy. And the reason I say the white supremacy is like one of the greatest things that like set us back is because when we buy into it, because white supremacy is just a doctrine that white people are superior in every way and that we are inferior. So once we buy into that, that right there causes us to have a low self-esteem and an unhealthy self-image. It pretty much like breeds in us what is defined as menticide, a term, you know what I'm saying, like pretty much where you have black people who are sick mentally. You know what I'm saying? They not happy to be black. They're not proud to be black. They engage in self-destructive activity and don't even realize that a lot of it has to do with self-hatred, a lack of self-love. Um, so a lot of people who work with young people are not comfortable talking about white supremacy. They feel like it's irrelevant. You know, I've witnessed it. I come across that with like some of the people who I've reached out to, who've reached out to me. They, for whatever reasons, I'm not gonna go into speculating or calling names or anything like that. But for me, that's one of the big issues. That's one of the big issues. I recognize a problem. Destructive behavior that starts with the thinking. There's no behaviors that we engage in that don't first begin with some sort of crazy, faulty thinking. So once we understand what the thinking is, then we can come up with like something that's going to help us change those thinking patterns.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at it and you look at it thoroughly, a lot of it has to do. It goes right back to what I was talking about: low self-esteem, low self-image, and a lot of it can be traced further back into white supremacy. Things that we've bought into, lies that we've accepted as being true that are untrue. You know,
Yeah, we need order and integrity. We need to start there, and then like role models need to reach out to them.
yeah. hmm Yeah, my personal opinion is that, like I said, I'm rooting for like the little homies that's out there in the streets,
Yeah.
or who's wanting to go that route. And I believe that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, more brothers, you know what I'm saying, more men and women like myself who we've lived that lifestyle, but we done, you know what I'm saying, did a 180. I feel like we're the ones who they're going to actually listen to. Because I know, like, personally, it's like from going into like schools or whatever and talking, young people actually listen to what I have to say.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that I'm saying anything that's like vastly different from what a lot of other people are saying. It's just that it's genuine. They can look at me and listen to me and tell that I'm genuine
Yeah.
with what I'm saying, and then they can relate to my story, to my experiences. When I tell them like what my thoughts were, how I was feeling when I was living a life, when I was in prison, they can relate to that. It's real. It's real to them. So and a lot of other men and women who I know who go out, they try to mentor young people, or they go out and they talk in schools or whatnot. They have the same type of approach, the same type of delivery, and they you know what I'm saying, like they're like well received. So I feel like brothers and sisters such as myself, we have a huge role to play in this thing right here.
Yeah. Someone that can reach out to the youth. Someone that can reach out to the youth and
Yeah.
just inspire them and listen, like actually listen to their problems. And a lot of people are
hmm
going through poverty. A lot of people are going through poverty, so they can't deal. Like they got all the stress and all that.
hmm No doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt.
Like me, like I haven't experienced like jail like big time. Like I've spent like a night and a day. That's nothing. But like like I love the way that you turn a lot of things around and like you already got to the work. And like once you got out, like you got to the work and you started you did a book and you did books and started a publication online and all that. Like you
hmm
doing the groundwork already. Like that's amazing to see the
I
brother do
appreciate
that.
that. Appreciate that. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of brothers, you know what I mean, who are doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The sad thing is that the grind is very difficult. It's hard, and you know what I'm saying, like the people who you really want to support you, or who you expect to support you. A lot of times you don't get that. You don't get support from where you think it's where you think it should come from. But what I find is that, like, I get support from like so many people that I don't know. Just like are complete strangers, like they live in different cities and different states, and that's the motivation. But like at the same time, that's part of the frustration too. You know what I'm saying, like for like just conversations that I've had with like other comrades, is that that's part of the frustration, because at times you'd be like, well, maybe I should like just focus on me. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just coming home from prison.
Yeah.
I need to get myself together. I need to, you know what I'm saying, just worry about you know what I'm saying, building up the bag for my kids, for my young ones. You know,
Yeah.
so like that frustration can set in where sometimes your message is not well received. Y'all forgive me too. I'm just getting over like a little cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not COVID. I took a COVID test, but I'm getting over a little cold. So I still got like a little phlegm that, you know what I'm saying, be coming up. So that's why I sound like this. But
Yes, sir.
you know what I'm saying, it just be frustration. Because you know what I'm saying, like the because I can say this. I know a lot of brothers, you know what I'm saying, from when I was locked up who done come home and they're doing pretty much the same things that I'm doing. But the thing is, it's like they're doing it solo. Because like everyone that they know, the people who they know are still like living the same lifestyles.
Yeah.
So everything that they're trying to do, they're trying to implement alone. Then the other people who are out there doing things like their agendas, their programs, their message is like tailored differently. And it's almost as if they're like looking for a different group of young people to rescue. So like when you got a certain group of people in mind that you want to reach, what I'm saying, you got to find creative ways to reach that group right there, and that's what I'm saying, like that's a huge issue. What I'm saying, for our brothers and sisters such as myself.
Yeah, align with what's good. It's not hard to stay out of trouble, and like I know, like in jail, like you can bind, like it's all about love and just binding with people. But
Hmm.
like with with just staying positive, like you can do a lot. Like you can still do a lot. Like once you get like even anybody that that gets out, like it's freedom is a blessing. Freedom is really good. Like just opposed
Hmm.
to being locked up. Like it's really good to be free and just to go out into the world and do your own thing. Just got to keep doing good.
Oh yeah, yeah. But so many brothers get lost though. I'm telling you. I mean, like so many brothers go in and they come out the same way they went in. So many. That's why like the recidivism rate is so high. That's why so many brothers, you know what I'm saying, go to prison and within the next 2 or 3 years they right back in prison.
Yeah, it's sad. And
You
you can
know,
still
it's
be
it.
yourself. You can still be yourself, but just don't do bad. Just you can still be your original self.
Yeah, I mean, but see, like that goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's the way we view ourselves, our self image. Like who are you? Like what is your purpose in life? What are you doing here? What do you want to accomplish in life?
My
You know,
goal
if
is
you
to
if you
motivate and stay positive and motivate others because my legacy, I want to leave behind a legacy that's good, like
uh
something people can look at.
hmm. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really asking you. I was just saying like, but if you ask a lot of if you go into like any prison in America and you ask 100 men those questions right there, you'll see they're probably, I would say like 65, 70% of the men would find it very difficult to answer those questions.
Yeah,
They wouldn't be able to answer those questions. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why I say like the work, when you're trying to rebuild broken boys, the work is different than when you got boys who have come up, they're healthy, they're mentally healthy, they're strong, they're positive, they're already on a good path, they have a positive self-image already. It's different because you have boys who really don't know who they are.
yeah, yeah.
They don't know what they want. Talking about purpose and legacy, they not studying that because they're more worried about what people think about them, right, how people think about them right now.
Going
You
with the
know,
crowd and influences, like going with what others
exactly.
doing. I can
And
also
I'm
add
talking. Go ahead.
I can also add to that, like, cause for me, like coming up, like I was going with the in crowd, and like also like it took me to go around the corner to understand that like God trapped me to know that like to make amends, to change for the better, and like
Hmm.
I seen that, and then I had that reality check, and then like I knew what my purpose was from there, like because it took me a while to catch on. Then I started writing, and then I read all my journals, and then
Hmm.
I caught on and to I captured like I got a grip on reality.
Okay.
I found my passion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like honestly, bro, you're very fortunate. You're very blessed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like when you're dealing with addicts. Some addicts can be strung out, lose their home, and still keep on going, still, keep on smoking, keep on snorting, and shooting up or whatever. But you take another addict, all it takes for him is to lose his job. He still has his home, still has a fat bank account, but he just lost his job because he failed a drug screen. And he's like, you know what? I got to get myself together. He gets himself together. Our rock bottoms are different.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so like what it took to wake you up, a lot of other brothers, it takes a lot more to wake them up. You know what I'm saying? It's the same. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're looking at addiction, criminality, I look at them as exactly the same. They, you know what I'm saying? Addiction is ruled as a disease. I say if you want to rule addiction as a disease, you might as well rule criminality as a disease also. You know, but I look at them as the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like we both had rock bottoms. You know what I'm saying? Like I know dudes like I started selling dope when I was 12. So I'm standing on street corners. I'm 12 years old. So like everybody who I knew in my life were either dealing or using.
Yeah.
Like that's all I knew were the streets. You know what I mean? So I done seen dudes who've lost everything and they still right back out there. But I done seen some other dudes who just find themselves in a little jam, get a slap on the wrist, they turn their life completely around.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I say like you want the fortunate ones. You know what I'm saying? It didn't take much to wake you up. Your rock bottom wasn't nearly as deep as some others. Like for me, I had lots of chances. And you so like with me, it's not like I had to sell dope. You know what I mean? My mother she's in the education field. My father, he was a bootlegger, loan shark, dope dealer. He owned real estate, and my older brothers, they all sold dope. I was spoiled as a child. I got everything that I wanted. I didn't have to sell dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like not like trying to brag or anything, but like you know what I'm saying, I was smart in school. Like I would skip school for a week or two at a time, go to test, go to school, take a test, and outperform the people who've been to school every day studying. You know what I mean? So like there were so many other things that I could have done with myself. So
Yeah.
I would get in trouble, get out of trouble, you know, find myself in the jam, find myself with a beef or something like that. And it was never enough to wake me up. It took me getting sentenced to 240 months in federal prison for me to sit down and be like, you know what? I got to change who I am. I got to change the way that I think.
Yes,
Because
sir.
because I'm gonna be 40 years old when I come home. If I come home with the same on the same BS that I'm going in on, then I'm gonna die in prison. You know, so
Yeah,
I mean it's
I just
crazy.
made 30. I just made 30 in November, and like everything ain't peaches and cream, but like I changed a lot. Like I changed a lot. I've evolved. Like I'm a podcaster, author, massage therapy graduate, um music artist, and also
Yeah.
a radio broadcasting student for 20 weeks. But it wasn't peaches and cream to get this far. Like I just evolve over time. Like this living,
Yeah.
like making it to C30, that's a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
So,
You're right, little man over staring.
so you want to close it?
How long does the show normally last?
30 minutes. It just hit
Okay.
32.
Oh, okay, it's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So you want to plug in any of your social links?
I mean, yeah, shoot. I mean, visit the website, www.newlifepublications.com. New Life is spelled with a Y instead of an I, so it's NEWLYFE publications.com. Um, Facebook, you know what I'm saying? My Facebook business page is New Life Publications. I'm on Facebook, you know what I'm saying, just under my real name, Derrick Simmons. You know, just hit me up. Just hit
Yes.
me up.
A pleasure working with you on this episode, and I thank you for joining me. I thank the listeners for tuning in. Yeah, it was great having you, Mr. Derrick.
Yeah, thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, it's good knowledge. You was dropping knowledge, and I thank you. And for free time free spill, y'all can check out the episodes like we air every Friday at 1 p.m. U.S. Central. And thank y'all for tuning in. I'll hit you up, Derek.
Okay, peace, bro.
All right, peace.